friends, today we're talking about a backwoods Ontario garlic miso wild mallard duck udon dish that has absolutely nothing to do with Japanese cuisine.
Added a tiny little bit of home-rendered bear fat to that duck fat, and in go our mushrooms. I'm gonna start there. Full salt and pepper at every step, obvi, right? And now we're talking squashes, folks, okay? Let's throw in some of those peppers, but have a look at where this is going, dude. Come on. That's what I'm talking about.
Do you know how big this duck is gonna be? This might be the best duck I ever cooked, and I've cooked some pretty good freaking ducks. Woo! Miso duck. Me so hungry.
In case you're new here, before I start the actual cooking video, I want to show you where most of the ingredients you're ever going to see on this channel come from. I hunt, fish, forage, and grow the vast majority of my diet here, and living this way is why I make these cooking videos. This is how I eat.
So I'm just taking a detour here to an old friend in the woods, and that's this big triple oak tree. And sure enough, guess who she's holding? Grifola frondosa, the maitake mushroom. So this is one of my absolute favorite wild edible and medicinal mushrooms that we have here in our eastern forests. And this one is in absolute prime condition. Look at that. Beautiful.
And look at all these beautiful peppers and onions straight out of my organic gardens from early last fall. They're all going right in the pan.
Look at all these peppers in here intercropped with these onions. There's just tons and tons and tons of them. Don't even really know where to start, man. Look at that. That's crazy.
Gorgeous, right? And wild ducks are some of my absolute favorite food anywhere, and they're not always easy to get. It's a lot of work and a lot of effort.
Am I right? It's a nice one.
But the experiences and the quality of the food are worth every last ounce of blood, sweat, and tears.
Woo, look at that fatty little boomalati right there. That is probably the fattest mallard that I shot last year. November 23rd, age 9 days, so that's good. She's gonna be real nice and tender. But I'm most excited about all that fat on there, man. That's God's butter. I cannot wait to pop this little beauty into the oven. And I'm gonna be doing something real special with this little ducky. See this? Miso. Okay, that is house-made miso by my friend Chef Dan Sanders. I did an event with him last week, and he gave me this gold right here. So this is miso that's made from split peas, I believe, some kind of pea, I can't remember. He did tell me, but I tasted it during that event, and it is some of the best miso I have ever had in my life. So we're gonna be doing a garlic duck miso, like vaguely Japanese style with all this good stuff. All this good stuff straight out of the garden. Maitake mushrooms straight out of the forest. Boo, alfalfa from the store. But every other ingredient in here is straight out of my garden, straight out of the forest, straight off the water, and straight out of Chef Dan's kitchen. And almost forgot to mention, we'll be serving that on this beautiful Japanese udon. I'll explain all the rest of the ingredients to you as we go along, but first, let's free this little ducky from their vacuum sealed prison right here. Okay, and give her a real quick rinse. There's quite a lot of blood coming out of that thing, as you can see, so we'll just dump that down, and then I'm gonna pat her down with a paper towel and get her dry, because we're about to put her in the casty and brown her up a little bit first. All right, she's all patted down dry with a paper towel, and let's examine this duck. You can see probably only one, maybe two pellets made it into this duck, and that's kind of wild, man. That's great. I'm counting my lucky stars. A lot of times wild ducks, if you've never seen one, that didn't come from a grocery store, are really shut up, and this one really isn't too bad. That's pretty freaking nice. I'm just noticing that leg is broken, so a pellet definitely went through that leg, but she's in really good shape, and that's a great place to start. Now, just before we get to searing this bad boy, we're gonna jack up the oven temperature all the way to 480. You gotta cook wild ducks hot and fast. 500 is not too much, guys. Just 480 happens to be sort of the sweet spot of my particular oven, and every oven is different. Now it's preheating, now we can get to work. And look at that dry casty smoking. She's just about ready for a duck sear. Now, I don't always sear ducks. You can see I got the tongs out, but I think this is best practice. It's so hard to get crispy skin and a good, even sort of medium rare to rarish cook is where I like it. With just the oven alone with wild ducks, they have a lot less fat. Even though this one's real fatty, they have a lot less fat than farm-raised ducks. So this process really makes it so that you can have the best of both worlds. You get to have crispy skin and you also get a perfectly cooked duck. And on high heat in a dry pan like this, it really doesn't take long. That's been going for, I don't know, like literal seconds. And let's just see where we're at. Yeah, see, it's already starting to brown a little bit. And the idea here is just sort of evenly brown it on all sides before I even get to any seasoning or putting it anywhere near the oven. Yep, I'm just rolling her around, pressing her down, trying to get it all covered. You can see I've got one wing done there. I've got the other wing done there, okay? And, you know, it's in a funny shape, so, you know, you can kind of get the breast, but you're not going to get all of it. Then you got to kind of pick it up and do this side and, you know, let that sit there for a few seconds. Come on, little buddy. She's not cooperating at all. There she goes. I should let you know, like, how hot this is. I would call this a sort of a medium-high heat, and at that heat on my particular stove, every single little piece that I'm turning over and searing doesn't take much more than maybe, 20 seconds-ish, okay? There you go. Let me get that centered for you. I can't get a good shot with the way my burner is right here, but you get the idea, I believe. And what's really important to know with this process, you're not trying to cook the duck here. This is a flavor move. This is a power move. We're building layers of flavor. This is to get crispy skin and get a little bit of a pre-sear on the duck before it goes to the oven. But it doesn't take long because we don't want to cook the meat. We want the oven to do that job. Oh my God, it smells amazing in this kitchen already, and she's coming along pretty good. Let's have a look. Like, bottom looks beautiful. The other side, yeah, a little bit on that corner I'm gonna hit. And don't try and get this perfectly even. It doesn't really matter. The oven's gonna help you a little bit as you go. You just wanna sort of pre-sear it. And now we're moving on to let this thing cool and season it. And you best believe I'll be saving that little bit of duck fat that ended up in the bottom of the pan for something else, man. Like I said, God's butter right there. And now, since I don't want to waste a single drop of this kitchen gold that was bequeathed to me by Chef Sanders, right, Dan the man, I'm just going to be using a couple, maybe a few tablespoons of this delicious stuff. And I'm going to be basting the bird with it. So give me 1 second. Look at that. Oh, I want to smell it. Oh, yes, that's what I'm talking about. So we're going to grab 1 and maybe 2 little tablespoons there, and I'm gonna add a very small amount of water to this, like a very small amount, just so I can distribute it a little more evenly over our duck. But hold on, I think our duckie's cool. Let's get to that first. I wish you could smell this miso. That's the best miso I ever had in my life, I think. Yeah, let's score this little bad boy. Hey, look, that little leg that was shot up got all funky. Look, it went to the side. Hey, you little weirdo. Come over here. But anyway, we got to score this so some of that delicious miso and other seasonings seeps down into the meat. So I'm just going to take my fillet knife here, and I'm going to sort of score through the skin, and not all the way through necessarily, just like that. A few little spots on this ducky. Okay, like that. Beautiful. Hey, come on here. I got to sharpen this knife. It doesn't look that good. And then we're going to go the other way. A little bit like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. And this guy right here, looking pretty good. Hold on. This knife really needs sharpening. That is pretty crisp, though. That's very nice. Ooh, hold on. There we go. Not too shabby right there. I went a little too deep, but that's all right, man. It's going to turn out nice. Next thing I got to do, just before I get to slathering her down with that delicious miso, is smash a little bit of homegrown garlic there. Okay, I'm going to rub the bird with this. I'm actually not adding it to the miso in any way. I'm literally just going to take a little piece of this, okay, like that. I'm going to bring in our little ducky, okay, because we don't need a ton of garlic. We want to really taste that miso, but what I am going to do is start rubbing that down just sweet and nice. Get some of that nice garlic into the skin, and then we're going to add the miso after I season, actually. Hold on 1 second, my friends. Hold on, I had to back her up. That last shot was kind of blurry and garbage, but I really want you to see what I'm doing here. I'm literally just rubbing delicious garlic juice all up inside and all the little nooks and crannies underneath the legs, behind the wings in here, all over the bottom, okay? All up in these beads. Oh my little friend, you are gonna taste so nice. Ah, man, I really did go too far scoring that thing, but hey, what are you gonna do? It's still gonna be so tasty.
Now I'm adding just a tiny little drop of warm water to Chef Dan's miso, and I'm gonna sort of get that to a slightly different consistency, but kind of exactly what it still is, you know what I mean? There we go. Now I can really move that thing around on the bird. Oh my God, that smells good. And now it's slather time, friends, so I'm gonna just take a healthy wallop of that stuff at the top and start moving it all around, okay? You gotta get your hands dirty, bro. You know what I'm saying? Oh, up in those little cracks under the skin, behind the legs, behind the wings, my friend. Oh, back in there, man. Am I right? Do you know how big this duck is gonna be? This might be the best duck I ever cooked, and I've cooked some pretty good freaking ducks. Head over my Instagram if you wanna see the many different types of duck recipes that I like to do. All right, that looks pretty good to me, man. I wanna make sure I get the bottom and every last little bit in there. Woo! Miso duck. Miso hungry. And now that our little ducky's looking kind of pitch perfect, it's time to salt and pep. Salt and pep at every step, as I always say. You like a nice salty, crispy skin on your duck? Yeah, you do. Of course you do. So do I. Nice fresh cracked pep. Okay, she's off to the oven. I want to eat that right now.
You can see the timer is set for 20 minutes, and that's about all it's gonna take for this little ducky. Again, I said hot and fast. It's gonna probably be like 20-ish, 21, 22 minutes, plus a couple minutes under the broiler at the end, but we're talking about 20 minutes right there. In she goes, and my oven tends to like the back of it. Things tend to cook more evenly back there, so I don't know about your oven, but shoved her way back there, we're on.
And now we're prepping and cooking veggies and mushrooms. And here's what's going on. That's a beautiful little homegrown pattypan squash straight out of the garden. I got half of one left, so I want to use that up. I got some homegrown onions. I got garlic. I got some beauty little peppers with a little bit of a kick. That'll be really nice with that squash. And then we're talking about the last little bit of a giant maitake mushroom I harvested last week that I cannot wait to put into these udon noodles, man.
And preparation is everything in the kitchen, if you ask me. This is what those fancy French chefs call mise en place. It means everything in its place. And I've long since learned that if you get all the components ready in advance of whatever it is that you're about to make, not only is there far less of a chance that you're gonna fuck it up or burn it or drive yourself insane, zenning into the process really centers your headspace for showtime when the burners get hot.
Just about 10 minutes left and our ducky needs to go up on the broil, but tell me I'm not using that duck fat that's left over in there to cook those mushrooms, because that's exactly what's happening. Almost forgot to smash a little homegrown garlic for the press. These are really firm. They're mostly just straight out of the ground not too long ago, so I gotta be a little forceful with them, but that's all going in the press to go with our mushrooms and with our squash, because I really like garlic with both of those things right there. Added a tiny little bit of home rendered bear fat to that duck fat, and in go our mushrooms. I'm gonna start there. A little salt and pep at every step, obvi, right? Swish those around a little bit. They've had maybe just 2 minutes on the one side there. I'm gonna try and flip them all more or less kind of evenly, and I might even add some more fat. These are about a week old and they're starting to dry out a little. They might take a little bit more, but you haven't seen this yet on my YouTube. Tell me I don't have the prettiest freaking silver spatula on the internet, okay? That was given to me by my buddy Chef Jamie Clark, who is also, just like Chef Dan, an actual chef, which I'm not. I'm just like a curious home cook guy. But tell me that's not just freaking beautiful, right? Yeah, buddy, we need another little drip of bear fat. Next, I'm gonna grab a bunch of those chopped homegrown onions to that. Okay, those are gonna reduce down. Oh man, those mushrooms are looking and smelling just about perfect. I want to show you over here. I've just put on a pot of water for that udon, okay? That's next step. And these don't take but a minute or two. There you go, there's one pack. I'm actually gonna put a whole nother pack in, so I got some leftovers for tomorrow. Pack number 2. And I'm putting these in a little earlier. That water's not actually ready, but don't worry about it. They don't really even require cooking. It's a formality. Oh, and speak of the devil, look, our ducky is done her 20 minutes. Now we're gonna jack her up to the broil. We're going all the way to Jacktown on this bad boy, okay? Start that, and now I'm gonna put another maybe just 2 minutes on the timer. You gotta really watch this step, okay? I'm gonna throw 2 minutes on the timer. Now, intense heat is coming down from the hot. You don't wanna burn it. And now we're talking squashes, folks, okay?
I don't want to overcrowd the pan, right? You don't want to steam them, you want to cook them. And I got to jack up that temp a little bit. This is perfect. I had a little accident with the microwave and the butter this morning. I want to use up this butter, so guess what? These squashes are getting a big old, oh, maybe not that much, a big old pat of butter like that. That's like over a tablespoon. Salt and pep on those bad boys, obviously. Right? Salt and pep at every step.
And there's our timer for the broiler. Let's see what's going on in there. We got to be careful at this stage. Look at it. Oh, bro, come on. That looks pretty much perfect, dude. Oh! We're going to let that little ducky cool off to the side here. Oh, look at her under proper light, man. Tell me you don't like that, man.
Squash, hold on. I got to throw the peppers in there. I'm going to flip these over once to get started, and then I'm going to show you, you may have noticed why I put so little salt on these guys. It's because we're doing kind of like a pseudo, not exactly, not at all traditional udon preparation. We're doing Japanese here. I'm going to be using some nice Japanese ingredients on all the veggies, these squashes and peppers. And speaking of which, let's throw in some of those peppers. Okay, while I'm thinking of it, I don't mind if a few extra of those little onions go in, some garlic's going in this, just like the mushrooms. I don't even know if I showed you the garlic on the mushrooms, but there's a little bit in there. And now, what I'm talking about is start off a little bit of soy. And this is why there was so little salt put on the first round. I didn't even really need it. I just forgot this is where I wanted to go with it. Little bit of delicious mirin, okay? Not a whole lot, just, you know, we're going Japanese. I think I'm going Japanese. I really think so. And the pièce de résistance, a little bit of sesame oil, dude. Roasted sesame oil at that. Oh man, is that ever smelling good? I'm talking about sesame oil, my friend. Oh, yes. Oh, that's immediately coming up to the nose, man. That is good. Hold on, our udon are going snake over there. Woo! I need to pull that off the heat. Those are done. But have a look at where this is going, dude. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. This beautiful pan here is getting one more flip. Oh yeah, before I burn them, I better be careful. And then we're plating her up, man. The caramelization's a little too far. I'm probably gonna actually have to chuck a couple, but look at that. This is what I want. This is what I want right here. Actually, that was just a little bit of that soy burning. Look, I got it scraped right off. These are gonna be perfect, buddy. Oh no, almost forgot my garlic for these guys. We're right at the end here, but that's okay. You know, you never want to put garlic in on high heat like this too soon because it does burn really easily and readily. But I do want a little garlic kick on that squash, man. Those peppers, tell me that's not going to be freaking dope, buddy. Those are beautiful. They're coming off the heat. Udon, done. These might be my favorite noodles ever. I love them so much. They're so meaty. Oh, I forgot this beautiful fresh ginger. I meant to put some in with these squashes and all this garlic and peppers, etc. But I believe the window has closed on fresh ginger. And that happens to me sometimes, guys. I'm gonna forget the odd ingredient. I get so excited about cooking, especially when I'm hungry, right? I just want to get at it. But this would have been better with ginger. It's gonna be awesome without ginger next time. And now, my fine feathered friend, it's time to carve up this little ducky and serve up a plate.
Look at that sexy little birdie there. Harvested and plucked and processed and cooked with my own two little paws. It's very satisfying.
Oh, and that is nice to see. Look at all that beautiful rare meat inside. I would say medium rare. This is actually a little overcooked for my taste, but the breasts look really, really good, man. Perfect, really. Now, trust me, I'm gonna be eating this entire duck. Look at how delicious that looks. Do you know how much I want to get into these little legs? Some of the best meat on a duck like this is right in that thigh and leg. But for this dish, I think I'm just gonna be using the breasts. Okay, I'm gonna medallion those out like that. Chuck them on top of that udon and those veggies, and it is supper time.
Yeah, it is. Let's do this.
Oh, buddy, that could easily feed two people, but you know what? I'm eating all of it. You know why? Because I can. And nothing left to do but plate her up. Talking about udon. Oh, these noodles are so firm and lovely and meaty and chunky. Come on. Right? I'm talking about a drizzle of toasted sesame oil before we even think about anything else. I'm talking about the delicious drippings from that duck on those udon noodles before anything else. Oh, buddy. I'm talking about a bunch of those delicious homegrown pattypan squashes and little peppers with just the right amount of heat on there. Now we're talking about maitake mushrooms and a bunch of them with a bunch of garlic and bear fat, buddy. Hey, am I right? Yeah. And now I'm talking about not one, but 2 entire delicious fatty duck breasts on there. Hold on, there's 1. There's 2. I don't know how this is gonna go. It's just a pile of meat, I think. A few of those nice fresh sprouts on top. The only ingredient, boo, that didn't come straight out of the garden veg-wise, okay? That's gonna be a nice little flavor on top of there, buddy. Microgreens, man, so much flavor, nutrition in these little guys are so badass. I love these. How about a sprig of parsley straight out of the garden and a little beautiful edible marigold? And I think that is dinner, friends. A little bit of roasted black sesame on top. Okay. And pow, that's dinner. And that is looking pretty freaking nice. Now, you know, my light is really terrible in here. Bear with me. It's something I want to improve as time goes on with the YouTube channel for my cooking videos, right? But, you know, it actually looks pretty good from here where I'm standing. Now, I'm not a professional chef like Chef Dan or my friend Chef Jamie that I was mentioning earlier, but I do like to play with my food, and sometimes they come out really good, and sometimes they don't. I never plan what it's gonna look like. I just kind of lop a bunch of stuff on there and try to make it look like something, but I'm really happy with the results. I already tasted a little bit of that, Dougie. I already tasted all the little elements. I cheated a few bites, and that's gonna be freaking deadly, dude.
Oh, look at this guy.
And this is how we do it in this house. The vast majority of the ingredients you're ever gonna see on a cooking video on this channel come straight off the property. They come straight out of the woods, straight out of the lake, straight out of the gardens, straight out of the forest, man. I know almost every single ingredient on these plates intimately. I know where it came from, I know what went into it, and more importantly, I know what didn't go into it from those gross industrial systems. But lots more on that in future videos. For now, it's getting cold, I wanna go eat.
Folks, thanks for hanging out to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this one. There's tons more cooking videos coming down the pipe on this channel, along with more hunting, fishing, foraging, organic gardening, mushroom hunting, plant identification videos, and a whole lot more. If it has to do with the outdoors, if it has to do with eating super high quality organic food, or if it has to do with living a healthy outdoor lifestyle, you'll find it here.
Oh man, I'm already digging in, and I just want to really briefly show you that perfect medium rare. Now, I prefer mine a little more rare. I didn't do a great job tonight, but for most people, that's exactly where you would want a duck. And I gotta be honest, I understand why. It's very good.
And that's all she wrote, folks. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you next week, Thursdays at 7 p.m. Cheers.